great idea. You know what's amazing?
January 5th, that Madden's
fresh coffee, hot sizzling ropes. No, from anybody that I...
Lionel? That's Lionel. Is that Lionel? That's Lionel.
That's Kim. When I'm doing hormone...
Aqua stuff. Jet from San Jose. Some mid-game that have different...
You have now accessed Eclectic Gentleman.
All right. January 21st. Is it January 21st?
It's the 21st.
21st of January, 2025. And it's 15 degrees outside.
Is it?
It was today.
Let's check it. Let's check the current weather. Let's see. I think you are correct, sir.
Yeah, on the nose, 15 degrees.
Actually, it says 20.
20, okay.
It was 15 this morning at 7:42 a.m.
Yeah.
And then it was 21 degrees at 4:15. And now it's down to 20. And midnight it should be 19. But it feels like 19. And at midnight it's going to feel like 13.
It's not that bad. I feel people are like freaking out. I mean, it's not that bad when
it's
you
not
go
Chicago.
outside.
Chicago is, I think, let me check Chicago.
I mean, if you go out for a 2-mile walk, yeah, it's going to be cold. But just going in and out of buildings or the car, it's not that bad.
Guess what it is in Chicago?
6.
It's 3.
3 degrees.
And it's going to be, tonight, it's going to be -5.
Yeah. And that's not wind chill. That's actual.
That's not feels like. That's the actual temperature.
Yeah, that's cold. So cold that they moved the inauguration indoors.
Indoors.
I
don't think it was as cold as the first time he was inaugurated. But I have a feeling the reason they really did it was for security, because he has been shot at.
Yeah.
So.
He gave the Washington Capitals a shout out.
He did?
Yeah. He was like, thanks for letting me do this in this building.
Use your stadium?
Yeah.
Yep. That was interesting.
Did you watch it?
Yes, I did. I thought it was fairly interesting.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me how civilized all those politicians are when they're all in the same room together.
Yeah. They all
shaking hands, smiling at each other.
Oh, like opposing people?
Oh, yeah. They have nothing but evil shit to say about each other on camera, but
yeah, they
put them in a church together, and they're literally, it looks like they're having small talk, and like, wow, I don't even know how you do that. How you switch that on and off.
You got to be a real politician to do that.
Yeah, and most people don't recognize that it's a job.
Yeah?
Do you think they do?
I don't know. I mean, it's a job. These fuckers get paid a lot of money to do that
They
job.
sure fucking do.
Yeah.
They sure fucking do.
think it being the president has a good pension too, doesn't it? You're pretty much set for life. I remember hearing somewhere a while ago that the salary for a president is like $300,000 a year.
No, it was 400,000 when I was a kid.
Yeah. But then there's a lot of perks.
Let's look it up. Annual salary is still 400,000.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I was wrong. It says it was established in Congress in 2001. I thought it's been 400,000 for a long time.
Total compensation package is approximately $569,000.
It says 100,000 for travel and entertainment expenses and 50,000 annual expense allowance. But I guess entertainment is separate from the. But they get paid to go and speak everywhere, don't they?
Do they?
And they also get the Air Force One to take them everywhere, and Marine One.
Doesn't Trump have his own plane?
I think he has several of them.
I mean, doesn't he use his own plane rather than Air Force One?
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought he's like, fuck that plane. I got a better plane. That's the one I'm going to fly in.
I don't think they let him do that because you have to go through the security levels you have to go through to get to be even work on.
To even see that plane?
Yeah. And then there's like 2 of them or 3 of them, so you don't really know which one he's going to fly on.
They fly together, right?
They fly at the same time from different locations and different routes.
That's the way Bezos travels. SUVs, like 5 of them, and nobody knows which one he's in.
What a different lifestyle, huh?
Yeah, I would have a hard time with all that, man. Just like not being able to walk outside, you know.
So Donald Trump is entitled to $400,000 per year. However,
He's entitled to what?
$400,000 per year, but he's committed donating his presidential salary, which he did in various ways. $100,000 per quarter. National Park Services, Small Business Administration. So he's working for free. He's entitled to a government-funded pension of $236,000 per year.
So tell me about the inauguration. I didn't watch it.
It was just, basically a show, like swearing them in. But I think they're already sworn by the time they get out there anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's just a recap of it.
Like a ceremonial.
Yeah, ceremonial.
That's like getting married in Vegas.
The only gaffe that there was the music didn't play for Carrie Underwood. I think she was the one who sung at it. And she's just like, you guys all know the words. And so she just sang it without music in the background. And it was neat. Everybody else was singing along. And there was, is it the Navy or the Marines have their own? Somebody posted, I didn't know this was a musical too.
There's a lot of singing.
There was a lot of music going on and some singing going on and stuff like that. But it was fairly short and to the point. His speech was, we're just going to tear it up, basically. And he mentioned changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Let me see if Grok will tell me about it, because I'm having trouble remembering it already. Tell me about the inauguration. Okay. It was in the Capitol. Yep. Chief Justice. Swearing in ceremony. The inaugural address. Parade. The inaugural ball. I'm trying to remember what he talked about in his speech. He was longer than 2017, coming at 2,885 words. Key points: America first, safety and balance, justice within the country, criticism and predecessor. Oh, criticism of predecessor. Help if I could read. End government censorship and restore free speech. End what he referred to as weaponization of the government against political adversaries. He declared a national emergency at the southern border, which means now that he can use the military. Oh, the interesting one of the more interesting was that he... Well, we'll get to that. The implementing of tariffs and tax foreign country benefit American citizens, and creation of the External Revenue Service. So we might all be getting a tax break of no federal income tax.
I believe that when I see it.
But if it happens, what do you think of that?
I mean, I'll take my fucking money back. I'm not going to be like, oh my God, thanks for letting me keep my money. That's my fucking money. I should be keeping it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I think he feels the same way.
yeah, he probably wants to keep his fucking money too.
Crisis of trust. Wealth at the expense of citizens. I think he's talking about with that one. He's talking about all these politicians that are making magic money at the stock market.
Yo, because they're like insider trading or whatever.
Well, it's not considered insider trading because of bullshit this, bullshit that, bullshit this. But I think that should be a nonpartisan thing where, yeah, both sides are like, yeah, you shouldn't be getting into politics to become a multimillionaire. So.
Yeah, because if you're a multimillionaire, why the hell would you need to be a politician? Then you're just power hungry.
Well, that's the other thing too.
You just get your jollies by being all powerful and shit. But like, if you had millions of dollars, like, I'd find much better use of my time than being like, oh, I'm going to be a politician. Like, there's a lot better things you could be doing with yourself.
What was that Jimmy Stewart movie where he goes, what's the name of that movie?
Mr. Smith Goes to Washington?
Yeah. Did you watch that?
No.
You never watched that?
No, I know what it is.
Well, apparently you recalled it perfectly.
I don't know what it's about. Is it like some average Joe gets to be a politician in Washington?
No, it's supposed to be, this guy goes to serve. But, it's been a long time since I watched it, so I can't recall it very well. But basically, he's not an insider. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. was looking at.
He did establish that there are only two genders in his speech.
Yeah?
Yeah. What does it say here? Opposing what we describe as social engineering of race and gender. I like the External Revenue Service, though. These other countries are all a bit freaking out. They're like, well, if you put tariffs on us, we're going to put tariffs on you. And he's like, we don't need your stuff.
Yeah. Trying to think if I need anything from China. Should probably order that now.
Well, you might end up paying more for it, or you might not.
I've been wanting to place a like an AliExpress or Temu order. They got a lot of like little camera gadgetry, like action camera mounts and everything, just dirt cheap. So I should probably place that order soon.
He did. There was one clip I watched him talk about TikTok, and he said basically right now, if he does nothing, TikTok becomes worthless because it'll just go away. And he said, but the software and the platform is worth like $1 trillion. He says, I'm going to put out there the idea that maybe we'll split it with them. And then they can make $500 billion and we'll make $500 billion and we'll help monitor the platform, and it'll be good for Americans. And everybody, he goes, but he keeps talking about how Barron, his son, helped him understand TikTok better.
Mm-hmm.
And that there's all these people that want TikTok that are young, and that they got 36 points. They won the youth vote. And for Republicans, that's just unheard of.
Right.
So I think that's going to happen.
What, TikTok's going to stay?
Yeah, I think so.
Because it's just back temporarily.
Yeah.
Saturday night, Jackson and I were like on there when it went off. It got real weird.
It got real weird, and then it went away.
Like the algorithm got really weird. They were very like basic videos, nothing to do with anything I was interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you first sign up, how it's just a very generic version.
Mm-hmm.
It got like that, and then his went away like an hour before mine, and then mine went away. And then it came back the next day.
So I have a feeling it's going to come back.
Yeah.
So
When everybody was downloading Little Red Book.
That's an interesting thing all in and itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna ban these people from doing what they want.
Right.
You're just gonna find another place to go.
Yep. I know Mr. Beast was organizing all these people, was considering buying it.
Well, he's got the cash flow to do it.
He has the cash flow. He has more. I looked it up. He has more followers than there are people in America. Just crazy.
Somebody will end up owning it. I don't think it's going to go away.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't.
Like he just kept saying, if it gets banned, it's worth $0. I think they're going to make a deal.
Yeah.
Because they don't want the value of it to go to $0. And he's right. And he said it in a way, he's like, I didn't create this situation, but I'm going to fix it. Because they said, well, didn't you want to ban it before? He said, well, I didn't understand it then. And Barron helped me understand it. And there's a lot of young people that make a living on that platform. And
Yeah.
And they helped me get in the office, so I got to do something. I got to make sure that I do what I can for them.
The president of TikTok was on, like I saw a video of him getting grilled by somebody in Senate or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, do you have any ties to China? And he's like, I'm from Singapore. Like,
I'm not Chinese even.
And he's like, have you ever been at a meeting in China with so-and-so? He was like, Congressman, I told you, I'm telling you again, I'm from Singapore. I'm not from China. Like, it's just crazy.
Well, and that'd be like asking Tim Cook, have you talked to any Chinese people?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we do business in China.
Right. Right.
Oh, and Tim Cook was at the inauguration.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos was there. Mark Zuckerberg was there.
Was it all the big players right there?
They were all in a row.
Really?
Yeah. And Elon was there.
Yeah.
And there was one part where he talked about putting a flag on Mars. And Elon was like, because he wants to go to Mars, so it makes sense. He's been wanting to go to Mars for decades. So it looks like there's going to be an initiative at NASA to go to Mars now and plant the flag on Mars.
All right. I'm down for that. I will watch that.
Do you have any
stream.
idea how long the trip is?
I don't even have any idea.
Do you know?
No.
Do you know how long it takes to get to the moon?
Nope.
It's like 3 days.
Okay.
I think it's 10 months
10 months trip to Mars.
by spaceship, and then you get there,
Damn.
and it goes up to 300 above, and then down at night to 300 below.
Well, it's a good thing they got John Panic coming up with cryogenics
John Panic, yes.
to make sure people's phones don't melt.
The thermal guy from NASA. Yep.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
NASA's going to get busy then if that's the case.
Yeah.
We just had a meeting today talking about stepping up innovation in my company. So that's a good sign too.
Yeah. You got to innovate.
Got to compete.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition out there. I thought Elon was going to buy TikTok, but then I was like, Elon would just make Twitter
X.
just that much better.
He's already. They're already talking about there's going to be a video. I think he's planning. Well, he's going to make X the everything happen. So
Yeah.
I think he's going to try to do. He's going to try to pull as many people over from TikTok to X as possible. And he even said, "Look, I don't agree with the ban, but it would be in X's best interest if it was banned." He said, "But I don't want it banned."
Right, yeah, I saw he said that. I mean, I'm down with X being the all-in-one. I've been using it a lot more lately. I've been posting on there. I've been just things that I like and things that I might want to look back on. Well, I'm like, oh, instead of making a note, I'm going to just post it on X. And that way it's there and I can go back to it. So I'm kind of using it as like a resource for myself. I was going to make a list of every movie I watched this year, and instead I'm posting on X about each movie I watch. And so I'm making my own list right there.
Did you see this one? This image?
Oh, is he looking down Melania's shirt?
That's not Melania. That's Bezos's.
Oh,
I don't know if it's his wife or his girlfriend or what,
Yeah.
but she's wearing this thing that's like her brassiere is hanging out. And they caught him because they can roll back the video, you know?
Right.
But he only glances down for just a second.
Yeah.
They got him.
Got him.
Poor guy. He can't get. And then I love this image too, where the guy from the back row is like looking too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody posted on there is like, men be being men again. And then they made a whole bunch of AI videos of it where she actually totally gets undressed,
Oh, yeah.
and they look real. They're funny.
She stands up and gets undressed?
Stands up. They have a picture. They have her getting her bigger coat off,
Mm-hmm.
and then they used that to like show her taking off the rest of her stuff. These guys must have spent hours making these little videos of her totally getting disrobed entirely.
Yeah, the AI video stuff is wild, man. I mean, you're really gonna be able to describe, like if you learn how to prompt that and trigger stuff right, like that's crazy what people can do.
It's nuts. So what do you think of the meme coins that he put out?
I mean, I heard about it, but I didn't really look into it at all.
You know who John Fetterman is?
Mm.
He's, I think he's a governor of, is it Minnesota? Or Michigan? I think it's Michigan. He shows up to the inauguration in his hoodie and shorts.
Oh, I've seen that guy before. He
Yeah.
reminds me of Anton LaVey.
He's just like, I just don't care. People are like, yeah, but it's the inauguration, dude.
So what about the meme coin?
Well, I think he's just trying to make a point that crypto is not going to be banned.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think anybody should be buying meme coins. I don't think they're going to be worth a shit. But it went through the roof already. It went from like 0.81 cents a coin to like $58 a coin, and there's 200 million of them. Let me see. I've got it on my watch list on my phone now. That's at $42 a coin right now.
Damn. And Melania's got one too.
Milani has one as well.
Some guy at work was telling me about it though, and he said that like Trump's coin was starting to go, and then Melania came out with a coin after that, and then when her coin came out, then the value of his coin dropped a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So
There was somebody that early on, before it was even worth $1 a coin, spent like $1 million. I don't know who that. I don't think they know who it is, but that would mean that they're like billionaires now.
that was probably a good, if you can find it that early, like.
It's only, in my opinion, you got to know exactly what's going to happen. Otherwise, it's just a giant risk.
Yeah. Well, the Hawk Tua girl, you've seen that whole.
Yeah, I don't think
thing.
he's going to do that.
No, but
I don't think he's going to do
But
that.
she fucked a lot of people. But, I mean, if you buy some dumbass coin like that, you got to expect something like that could happen from some girl who got
Hawk Tua?
famous talking about S and the D. I mean,
Yeah. I totally agree. It's like it's like a bunch of people trying to catch the Beanie Baby phase the way up.
yeah.
There's going to be a downside. It's
But-
not someplace I'm putting my money, but I think that it should exist. I
I've
don't think
s-
the government has any place in like telling people where they can or can't put their money.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole reason why he came out with it.
Just be like, I can do whatever the hell I want.
Well, he's gonna make it so that people can put their money where they want to.
yeah.
You want to put it in a stupid NFT? Fine.
Yeah.
So, but I'm guessing. I don't know. What else do you know about it?
About the Trump coin?
About the inauguration?
I saw Elon Musk did Sieg Heil, everybody's saying.
He's going, my heart goes out to you.
Yeah.
And now there's all these clips of all of these other people that are complaining about it
Yeah.
with their hand up in the exact same.
Yeah, Hillary, Obama, they're all doing it.
Elizabeth Warren.
But like, look, I could do that right real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And just like you saw the clip of Mark Zuckerberg looking down the chick's breast, somebody could
like a
freeze
half a
that
second.
frame
Yes, exactly.
and then be like, that's a Nazi podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then literally like a half a second after he does, he goes, my heart goes out to all of you all. Thank you for,
Yeah.
because he's so excited about making a priority going to Mars,
Yeah.
you know?
And he's like, I mean, at that point, I think has he said anything about it yet? Publicly?
He said, this whole thing about getting compared to Hitler is really getting old, guys. He literally has gone out of his way not to be divisive back towards people who are, legacy media and whatnot. Oh, I think people are smart enough to make their own decisions, but they only show them this.
Yeah.
That's all they show them. They don't play the "My heart goes out to you."
Right. They cut it off.
Right.
And if that's the best they got, like if that's what they're going to choose.
It's basically what Elon said. It's like, this is getting old.
Yeah.
You guys got nothing anymore.
Right. That's a real reach. But what's even more comical is the people that actually believe it. Like people are losing their fucking minds over this. Like, my grandparents didn't die in concentration camps for Elon Musk to be up on stage doing that. Like, really, bro?
And he literally has a medal around his neck. A thing that was given to him by, I forget who gave it to him, but it has to do with the October 7th thing in Israel. And he's spent all his time in Israel, and there's just a plethora of Jewish people coming out and going, you guys, this is just sad, what you're saying about him.
I gotta see what Adam Sandler has to say about it. He's my go-to for Jew,
Is he?
official Jew statements.
See what Adam Sandler has to say.
Well, yeah, Adam Sandler, he does the Hanukkah song. He talks about being Jewish all the time.
And he said he's had a couple of people, only like one or two, that he put in the Hanukkah song, and they've reached out to him like, take me out of that song, you jackass.
I watched Chappelle on Saturday Night Live. That was pretty good. He had a good skit on there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sorry, I got
It was
distracted.
very dark. It was a very dark skit. I won't tell you about it because I think you should just watch it. It's like 5 minutes. But
Okay.
it's very dark for Saturday Night Live. I was like, damn, they went there. But it's like I think they let Chappelle do whatever he really wanted to do. So it was like a skit from the Chappelle show.
Chappelle definitely does whatever he wants.
Yeah. Yep. He's up there, man. He's one of the GOATs, man.
He's just such an awesome storyteller.
Yeah, he's a great
And you
storyteller.
never can tell where his stories are going to go.
That is the energy that I am trying to harness in my life right now. So I wrote that whole thing, and I'm like reading it and like audiobook style and figuring out what I'm going to do with this whole story that I wrote.
Well,
And
give some backstory. What story are you talking about? I know what story you're talking about, but talk about it.
so like since January 1st, my project I've been working on a story all about my youth collecting Batman memorabilia.
How old were you when you started?
6. And when I was 7, I mean, I was really deep into it, kind of going out to autograph and antique shows and buying and selling and dealing and trading and writing a lot of letters to stars from the 60s television series. And I ended up striking up a friendship with Cesar Romero, who played the Joker. And I went to California with my dad, and I visited Cesar Romero, and we developed this whole correspondence after our meeting. Exchange.
How old were you when that happened?
I was 7 when that happened. So anyway, I wrote the entire story about that. Wrote it, typed it out first, and then did a recording of me reading it. And then now I'm focusing on it became apparent to me that, like, it's good. It's really good. I'm very happy with the recording and what I wrote, but I need to add a little style into it. I need a style, some kind of style. So,
Well, I think you have a style. It's just that you're trying to figure out what the boundaries are of it. Like, and the only way you're going to do that is to keep doing what you're doing.
yeah,
Like, it's gonna make itself apparent.
yeah, it's going to be its own. It's going to come out in the wash. But what I'm doing is, like, past couple of days I've been looking at examples, and there's just different ways people tell different stories visually, the audio. Just looking at a lot of different influences, like on YouTube, that I wouldn't necessarily look at.
Yeah.
And I'm getting some good, it's good getting the gears turning on a couple different things. And
Well, what do you like about the reading? Because I listened to it and I thought it's definitely 100% Zach. And I had some criticisms about it, but I didn't think it was necessarily appropriate, because I think you're right. You need to be allowed to develop your own style. And you're not supposed to be appealing. You're not looking to appeal to everybody,
yeah,
just people that are interested in what you're talking about.
exactly. It's a
And,
very,
and the way that you talk.
it's a very
so-
narrowed, yeah.
I'm not sure that my criticisms are valid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's more sentence structure and shit that doesn't really matter. It might hold you back more than it helps you.
Yeah, I'm not looking.
That's why I didn't offer any.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm definitely not looking.
The fact
to,
that you got it done and recorded
Yeah.
is huge. So you're going to post it?
Well,
Or are you going to wait to do the video of it and then post it?
what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to have the audio book and the written version. Those are going to mirror one another, and I'm going to put that out. And then I'm going to make a video, because I really want visuals to accompany it, because, like, I have the letters that we wrote back and forth, and I want to show those. I want people, if they're interested, to be able to see the visual aspects, the gifts that Cesar Romero gave me.
I did like how you took different parts and it had that actual personality's voice read it.
Yeah, how about that?
That was interesting.
I cloned Adam West's voice, and I cloned Cesar Romero's voice.
Both dead, so you don't have to get permission.
Yeah. Cesar Romero turned out
And it was
great.
it was actually yours anyway, because it was stuff that they wrote to you.
Yeah, they wrote that to me.
So you basically having them read their own letters to you, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. But I think
How did you do that?
I went to it's called 11 Labs. It's artificial intelligence that's very highly focused on text to speech. And you can clone voices.
Because it had inflections.
Yeah, it's hard to get the inflections to how you want them. So
But I could tell it was them.
yeah, right.
Like their personalities came through to some degree. But I could also tell what you're talking about with the inflections on certain parts of the written word.
Cesar Romero was easier. Adam West would speak very slowly. He's a very slow speaker, very deliberate, but very slow.
Just like when he was Batman, he's not the best actor in the world.
Yeah, and the AI doesn't really like his cadence.
What is it? 6 to 12-year-olds watching Batman, and they thought, that's Batman.
Yeah. But anyway, so I think I'm going to make the video, but I'm like, the video doesn't necessarily need to be an exact copy of the audio. Like, so
You could decide to redo this in a year or two too, or 6 years or whatever.
Well, I want to. So I was thinking about like the opening for when I'm talking about going to antiques and collectible shows and memorabilia. That part is kind of like the whole first half of it. And I was thinking about actually recording that at an actual memorabilia show. So like going and walking down the aisle and looking at different things.
When we going?
And so, yeah, I got to find us one.
Don't they have like shows and stuff over at the where's the MGM?
National Harbor?
Yeah. Don't they have things at the Gaylord there and or MGM?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of places around here that have little shows like that. It's just they tend to be more in the spring and summer. So
Okay.
I'm just gonna keep my eyes open for something. I was thinking about even going to like one of those antique malls and being like,
Where are they? What, can you name one?
there's one I went to like Southern Maryland that's very big, and there's a really big like toy store there with vintage toys and stuff, and
Vintage toys.
yeah. So I think that's the
Are you talking about toys from my childhood?
Oh no, my friend. Vintage toys.
They're older.
I mean, no, vintage toys are like toys that I played with now. Like vintage is like the 90s.
Oh wow.
That's I mean, I think the ones you played with might be antiques at this point.
Well, thanks you. Thank you very much. 70s.
No, 70s are like super or retro. And
okay,
then-
I like retro better than
and
antique.
then 90. Yeah, you're Evil Knievel, wind
I
up
had-
Eva. I know you. Yeah,
I had that.
every kid had that, man. Evil Knievel was like the man.
I got for one Christmas, I got a Spider-Man that he was constantly in the pose with his arm up, and it had a pretend web that was a hook, and you would hook it on things, and Spider-Man would pull himself up.
Oh yeah,
So I got that for Christmas one year.
it was like repelling Spider-Man.
No, you would pull it out, and you would hook it to things,
And
and
it
then
go
you'd hit a
up.
button on Spider-Man, and it would pull himself in.
I had
So you could, so he would swing on the way up, and then you just go hook him to something else and do it again.
I had a Batman like that. I think I just sold that on eBay like last year.
That makes sense.
But it was probably the same. It was like hard plastic.
What does Batman call that whole device?
The Batarang? Yeah.
No, that's the thing he throws.
Yeah, but he ties a rope to it.
Remember
as well.
in what was it, 84?
89 Batman?
89 Batman,
thing.
where he goes, how much do you weigh?
How much do you weigh? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was a little nod to that scene in the Flash movie, I believe.
There was.
Yeah.
There was.
So yeah, I think a little bit. I want to do a video that's just a little more like me, and then if people like that video, then they could go and listen to the entire thing. So, make it it's just, I've come to realization there are absolutely no rules. I can do whatever the hell I want.
So how did you get into all this? You didn't get everybody like the anchor, which is your dad.
My dad was the anchor for all this, and I think
He was a huge collector, right?
he collected.
When did he start?
He started when he was like 8-9 years old, and he would get autographs outside of baseball games, and he would write to people in Washington, D.C., politicians, presidents, senators.
Back before cell phones, back before
Social media.
of any kind,
Yeah.
before the internet,
Yeah.
back before people had wireless phones in their own house.
Yeah. Well, if you collect anything, it's super easy to get now. You just can go on and buy it,
eBay.
and it shows up.
You don't have to even leave your own house to be a massive collector nowadays.
And my father had a collection of hundreds of thousands of items, and what is remarkable about that is that he did that the conventional way, in person, like
Traveling, going to the shows, writing a lot of letters,
making the connections. The way
Tell how you got Caesar to respond, and Adam West.
I wrote them a letter. 7 years old, I wrote them a letter.
But your dad told you how to get a response.
Well, you got to do a self-addressed stamped envelope, so you make it super easy for them to respond.
Mm-hmm.
So, my whole youth, hockey players, everything, I would send them a picture I wanted them to sign. They didn't have to write out my address. They did not have to put a stamp on it.
They just had to sign it.
They just had to sign it and give it to somebody and say, here, drop this in the mail for me. So, you make it super easily. That's how Pamela Anderson, I sent one to Pamela Anderson, like at the height of her fame in Baywatch. And I got a letter, a signed picture back to Zach.
Mm-hmm.
So you make it easy for people to respond, and
I
they
think people
would.
could still do that nowadays if they were aware of it.
There's a lot of people were just like listed. It was easy to find people, but you get one of these celebrities now, nothing better to do. I want to answer fan mail today. I'm sure they still get a lot though.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. AutoPen is very popular now with if Ariana Grande comes out with a new album, on her website they put a limited number of autographed CDs. So
is there proof that she actually did it by hand, or do they have a robot do that?
it's called AutoPen. It's a signature robot. This technology goes back to the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that when I wrote Reagan when I was a kid, I can't find it now, but I had a photograph where it shows the Sharpie.
Yep.
You can tell it's a Sharpie, but it's also a little bit too smooth.
Yeah. And the best way to do is compare, and they're exactly the same.
So I'm imagining that that's what he had done.
I looked up the
AutoPen.
machine. The machine's like $3,500. I think that's what it was. But you put a pen of your choosing in that machine, and now it's super easy. Like John F. Kennedy had one, and that was crazy technology for back then. But now I think you can just, you sign a tablet, and it just replicates exactly what you're
Well,
signing.
I do that on my Mac.
You sign?
I signed it, and then I used the Mac has a signature thing where you put it in front of the camera, and it puts it into your Mac as a signature, and you can apply that signature to all sorts of
Like
documents.
PDFs and stuff.
And the best part about it is that you can scale it
yeah.
and you can twist it,
Yeah.
but it's still your signature.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing that they have that.
But it makes signing things to make them legitimate kind of stupid. Since somebody could take your signature on a picture that they sent you, and you could totally copy it into the Mac and use it and
Yeah.
start signing.
100%.
And it would be their signature. So
Autographs
digital
now.
signatures are definitely needed.
Autographs now, it's like, I feel like people now, it's shifted, and people want pictures more than they want autographs. So, if I ran into Tom Cruise, at the Wawa when I was stopping for gas, I think I would probably get a picture with Tom Cruise before I would be like, hey, can you sign an autograph for me? 100%. I think most people are like that because everybody wants something to post on social media. So it's kind of changed a little bit. I mean, ideally, you'd like a picture and an autograph, but forget about it. Unless I see somebody sign something in person, the fakes are too good now.
So you needed actually a little video clip of them actually signing the thing.
Seeing them sign in person in front of me.
Yeah.
Right? Like eBay.
Yep.
Even, authenticated autographs. Like, if I have Tom Cruise's autograph,
Oh yeah, there's a huge racket.
I send it off. I mean, people have legit autographs that they've sent, and an expert has reviewed it. Says, oh, this is not authentic. And the people are like, but I got it signed in person. It's authentic. No, based on our examples that we're comparing it to,
Yeah.
this is not authentic.
Yeah, because they didn't pay him enough to authenticate it.
Yeah. So it's a racket. And when you do get something authenticated or graded, it's like, say, like you got an old comic book that you want to get graded, the price to get it graded is a sliding scale. And the higher they deem the value of that comic, then you pay a percentage of whatever they deem. So you're paying a higher percent.
So there's a whole racket just for authentication.
Yeah. Hey, you got $1 million comic book. Well, you're paying way more to get that shit authenticated. It's not a flat rate.
So what you need to do is you need to get an authentication video. But what's AI going to do to that? Because you can get it.
Yeah.
You can make a video.
Yeah. So, yeah, unless you see it at, like, if you look at eBay, it's disgusting how many fake autographs and, but a lot of people get fooled by this. It comes with a certificate of authenticity, but, like, it's just something somebody printed out of their inkjet printer. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can make a certificate of authenticity for anything. But if it's coming from me, who the hell am I?
I went last time I went when I flew to Memphis for Christmas. The Lyft driver, he was big into. Him and his wife had a couple at-home business. One of them was collectibles.
Yeah.
I think it was jerseys he was talking about, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah. It's crazy now, collecting and just everybody. There's collectors of everything and every genre and every topic. And but like I said, that was the hard part about, my dad had to do it the old school way. And now I have unpublished photos from behind the scenes, backstage, of the Batman series that a photographer took. He mailed the pictures to me because I put out an ad in the back of some superhero magazine or something.
Mm-hmm.
This is what people would do. He put the pictures in an envelope and write me a letter. If you like the pictures, send me a check for this amount. If not, just mail them back. And I bought those pictures, but how much trust the guy had to actually stick them in the mail and mail them to me. Because I could have just ghosted him, man. But...
But you can... Yeah.
Yeah. And nowadays, I wouldn't do that now. But it's just... I was selling on eBay when people would write checks. So if you bought something from me, you would mail me a check, and I would get your check. And then once that check cleared, then I'd mail your item out. It'd take 3 weeks to get something on eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everything's just so immediate now. It's wild.
It's only going to get faster.
Yeah, you're going to have...
I think there's probably some value to these meme coins, but I'm not sure exactly how it works yet. It's going to be interesting to see what happens the next year or two.
Yeah, there's not any utility around the Donald Trump coin, right? Or is there?
They're talking about that there will be.
There will be.
It'll be like if you've got, it'd be like having a subscription. Like subscribing to somebody's blog, or you basically you get, what's the name of that thing on YouTube? A lot of these guys that post stuff have
Like a Patreon.
a Patreon too.
Yeah, paid.
Right.
A paid tier.
Yeah, so that they get access to the content like a week beforehand for everything, and then they get other videos that only the Patreons get.
Yeah, a lot of podcasts I listen to do that. They have they tease great episodes. I'm like, that one's only available to Patreon.
Like the app that I like, Overcast. There's Supercast is one of them. And when I was listening to Jordan Peterson, I would pay $100 for the year, and I would get commercial free all of his podcasts. So then I didn't have to fast forward through anything.
Yeah, and
I
you're
was-
supporting the creator you like.
I was supporting the creator that I liked. I was getting it so that I didn't have to listen to commercials, and he was outputting easily at least one a week. So it wasn't that expensive. Even
Right.
at $100 a year, it was, and sometimes he'd output 2 or 3 in a week, and I get all of them commercial free.
Yeah,
I haven't. I was probably one of the early adopters of streaming. I don't think I've watched commercials in between 20 or 30 years.
So when did you start streaming?
For TV shows and whatnot, I don't watch commercials.
When did you start streaming?
As soon as it was available.
Like, when was that? When did...
Like
when,
I was still living in Illinois. Jeez.
Wasn't, like, you mean like Netflix? Was that one of the first streaming?
No. Like like there was some way to get online access,
So,
and at first it
whatever.
was kind of free.
Yeah.
I can't even remember how far back. It was like pre-Apple TV even.
Is that IPTV protocols? I remember when that was kind of a thing, like internet provided TV, where they still have
A lot of these services even had a login for it, right? And you could just there was a caveat where you were usually behind. Like they were putting them out. I think their feeling of it at first is we're broadcasting this over the airwaves anyway, right? It's
Yeah.
on a regular TV channel. So if these people want access to watch this series and have it be a day or two later, they didn't care,
right.
right? Because they could VHS record it anyway. Well, I just skipped all of that. It's better than DVR on, what was that device?
TiVo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was better than that.
People love TiVo.
Because I could literally wait 3 weeks to watch, and then I could watch 3 episodes at once. This is pre Netflix even being available on disc.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just adamantly against spent way too much time watching TV series when I was younger, but at least I wasn't watching all these damn commercials
Yeah.
of shit that I didn't want to buy.
Saved a lot of time.
I always considered it propaganda, which it really is.
Yeah.
You know, buy our toy, buy this, buy that.
And now it really is, because I'm already paying.
Oh God, it's so out of control.
So then they're double dipping on me, man. And I gotta watch their commercial. But commercials are bad now. Like you pay for YouTube Premium, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't, and I'm getting real close to.
it's worth it
Yeah.
because both you and your son, and maybe even your mom, will benefit from it.
I mean, I downloaded a good blocker,
Because you can get a family. But yeah, they don't work
and it works a lot more than it used to. But
until they figure it out and they
without
make it
the-
not work again.
without the blocker, it was all borderline unwatchable. You can't get through anything without 3 commercial breaks.
Yeah.
It's lame. How much is it a month for Google? What is it called? Google Premium?
Yeah. Premium Plus, I think.
YouTube Premium. And what do you get? Boom, boom, boom.
I bet before the podcast is over, you're going to subscribe.
I bet you not. $13.99 a month.
Yeah, but pay annually. You get 2 months free.
Family plan is $23 a month, allowing 6 family members. Student plan, $8 a month.
Yeah, but look at the annual.
$140 annual for the individual plan. Ad-free viewing, background play. You can play videos even when your device's screen is off.
I do that all the time.
Offline downloads.
Mm-hmm.
Download videos to watch offline.
So sometimes when I'm traveling on my iPad, I'll have like a bunch of YouTube videos that I want to watch downloaded to my iPad, and I watch YouTube while I'm on the flight.
YouTube Music Premium.
I don't use that, but you could.
Enhanced 1080p video quality. YouTube Originals. Smart downloads. Automatic downloads recommended for... I don't want odd anything.
I use that though. Like if I throw stuff in my watch later on my
Yeah.
phone, it auto downloads it. And the reason I do that is because sometimes I just want to listen to it.
Yeah.
And now I can have my phone off and I'm in my car. There's no YouTube app for CarPlay. And I can be listening to something I downloaded and watch later on my phone while I'm driving.
Yeah.
No commercials.
No commercials. Speaking of commercials, I gotta take a commercial break because I have to pee.
All right.
So we can run a commercial right now.
Okay, let's do that. We'll come back in a second. But I can understand people not liking Trump. He's definitely a fucking character. But I think what some people have said about him is absolutely true. You have to take what he says seriously, but not what's the phrase they use? But he's being bombastic. It's not exactly that. You know what I mean? Like he's a salesman.
Very much so.
You know, like you don't have to take it exactly, but you have to take him seriously because he means business. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm optimistic about what's going to happen. I have a feeling I like the way he's talking about tariffs. It would only affect people who are going to buy stuff. So you're talking about buying stuff from China now before
Right.
the tariffs are in place. But it will really only affect you, the tariff, when you want to buy stuff. So if you get to keep a larger percentage of your income instead of having to pay it to the government and then getting nothing. So if you don't buy stuff from China, it's not going to impact you.
Yeah.
Plus, then there might be American companies that that can now compete with DJI, and so now they'll have a competitor and we'll get better drones made here in America. Or maybe DJI will decide to manufacture their stuff here in America. Is that me or you?
I think that's I don't think that's me.
It must be me. I probably need to put my my shit on Do Not Disturb. Well, let's find out what it is first.
It might be important. Yeah, that was a lot of text.
It's probably Roger. He likes to send me one sentence at a time.
We should do a Roger meme coin.
We should. He's funny. Albrecht. You know who that is?
Nope.
Ross Ulbricht was the creator of the Silk Road.
Oh, okay.
You know what the Silk Road is?
Oh, yeah.
Can try it. Go. Lisa, I know it's Silk Road, but I don't know the details. Why he was arrested? Because he was selling whatever he wanted without control of the government.
Well, he was enabling everybody else to sell it, right?
That's true.
He ran the whole...
He was taking a small percentage over the top
right.
of everything everybody couldn't sell anywhere else.
Yeah.
And
there was a movie about it, a documentary on one of the streaming platforms, all about the Silk Road and the court case and everything. It's probably pretty interesting.
I read, let me look up the book name so I don't get it wrong. But now I'm starting to realize that the guy who wrote the book did it from his own personal slant, which is fine. It's his book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think I need to find another book about the whole subject. What's the name of that book?
American Kingpin.
They're worried that he's going to cut Social Security and stuff like that. And that idea is just absurd. If there's no taxes coming in, they're going to pay for it the same way they pay for everything else. They're going to print the money. As long as there's a money printer on it, they can do whatever they want. And it's just going to, what he's going to do by getting rid of taxes is make everybody realize that Congress is just printing money to do whatever they want, and they only tell you about the things. They use it as a way to control people. Like, we need to have this taxes from you to pay Social Security. Well, what they really needed to do was, when they collect it from you and me, is they need to fucking hold on to it. Not spend it on whatever they want to, which is what they do. They dip into these funds all the time, and they send them to other countries, and they do this with it or that with it, or pay for stuff that none of us have voted on. Right or wrong, that's not what taxes is for. Taxes is for our benefit, not for them to just do whatever they want with. Except the large majority of the money that they're spending, they're just printing anyway. What's the national debt at right now? $36 trillion. It's $1 trillion a month going up in interest rate.
Yep.
Well, it's not. I understand your reaction, but it's not unimportant, because if the dollar becomes not the world reserve currency, that's going to be a big problem for the world, not just for you and me as Americans.
No, yeah. The world's got problems, that's for sure.
So it's interesting what's happening. I think people are going to finally get woken up as to exactly how bad things really are and how good they could be.
Yep. But then there's going to be a whole group of people that are happy about it, and there's going to be a whole bunch of people that are really mad about it.
Well,
they're never going to agree.
Well, when they don't cut these things that they think have to be cut when federal taxes goes away, they're going to start to realize that they've been being lied to about all of these programs that are in place. They're not really funded by our taxes.
Yep. There will be a bunch of people that just deny that flat out. Elon Musk
Flat earthers are a real thing.
did the Nazi salute. It's the same thing.
Yeah, there's going to be a bunch of people that are really intelligent people that are friends of mine. They're going to be like, what's with Elon being a Nazi now?
So let's just say, for sake of argument, Elon Musk was a Nazi. Do you think he would go
That's a very good point.
on stage in front of the world
At that particular time.
and be like, I'm gonna reveal myself today. This is it.
Yeah. This is the venue at which I want to show everybody my true allegiance.
Yeah.
Is to a long dead man with a very small mustache.
Yeah. It makes sense.
The absurdity of it is just like, it just proves that it doesn't have anything to do with intelligence. It has everything to do with social bias.
Yeah. And
that's it, right? Like you have your group of friends, and you tend to want to stay friends with that group of friends, right or wrong.
Yeah.
And so you tend to align with their way of thinking in order to make sure that everybody is in line. And it had its place back when we were all very tribal. It actually kept people safe, but nowadays it doesn't. It's just used against us, our own human nature.
Yeah.
People have to read and figure out the truth for themselves, though. You can't make them.
No, you can't. People don't listen. People don't open their minds. They have some idea.
People do open their minds, but at their own pace.
At their own pace. That's well said.
You can't make anybody. You can't make people listen.
No.
Hell, at work, I can't even get people to read more than, like, if you put a bullet list in an email of 5 items for them to respond to, they will only respond to you in their response email about the thing that they hate most, regardless of whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 of the bullet list. And the rest of the list they won't even talk about.
Yeah,
So you basically have to send them one item at a time if you really want them to respond to that.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Do you deal with that at work too?
Yeah, I have to send out a lot of emails that
break them down and send them out independently.
Yes, and if I need a response, my subject line is very important to me. I put attention required, response needed, like
high importance.
Yeah, really, really send it to people and go, okay, I really need a response on this one. I need to know this information from you. So, like,
shouldn't all correspondence be at some level important?
Not when I'm getting, in reality, probably like 120 emails a day.
This is what I've been trying to tell my company too. It's like, stop sending out emails. Like, my company sends a lot of emails that says, this is what the company's up to. This is what's happening here. This is what's happening there. And so now people are dealing with 50 or 60 emails in a week.
Yeah.
And they're not. They just don't read them.
They don't read them. They don't have time to read them.
So less is more.
Less is more. One of the best things Whole Foods Market did is, like, we make a point to limit communication on Fridays. And communication is also limited Saturday and Sunday, but they're like, those are our busiest days. We want everybody focusing on
work,
on selling, like
actually
driving sales. So they limit communication on Fridays. And, when somebody does have to send out an email, apologies for the Friday email, but that works. But it's just like, man, you could do that all the time. Take all that information.
Just like getting mail at my mailbox.
Yeah.
I got 2 letters today.
Yeah.
Both of them I opened, and both of them went in the garbage. I needed neither one of them. And I definitely didn't need to spend a minute and a half of my life force deciding that I didn't need this crap. And there was a mail service on the internet about 5 years ago that I signed up for, and they got bought up and it went away. But basically how you could opt out of all of the trash email coming to you.
Email or
mail.
Junk mail.
Junk mail.
Yeah.
Like they would literally, it was a service where you paid a very small amount, and they would get rid of all the junk mail coming to your house.
Man, that's that. If you really think about all that junk mail you get, because I get a lot too. Like, what a waste of resources.
Let's save the planet.
time
Let's get
and
rid
energy
of
that
all of the
is.
junk mail.
Well, let's save the fucking mailman's back. I mean, or the mailman's time. Because
Well, they were worried that if they got rid of junk mail that the post office would go under. Good.
it's just
Good. If it's a service that we don't need, that isn't going to pay for itself, then we don't need it.
you get all the catalogs and all the grocery store ads and everything. Like, I don't need any of that.
I don't need any of that. I don't shop that way. I haven't shopped that way in 3 decades.
If I want to see what's
I
on
do research.
sale,
That's why I pay
Yeah.
for YouTube. That's where I shop.
yeah.
I'm interested in this. I look up a video about it and I see a review or I see 2 reviews and I go, oh, I ain't fucking buying that.
But if I want to know what the price of ground beef is at Safeway this week, I can look on the Safeway app. I don't need to go
I don't need a
flip
mailer.
through these mailers. Yeah.
Right. And what some people out there would say, well, there's a whole lot older people that still do it all that way. Okay. Send them the mailers. I
Oh.
don't want them.
There's a lot less of those older people
Every day.
every day.
Every day.
That number is dwindling.
Yes.
Um,
And a lot of those people would be fine with getting an email instead.
yeah. So at a certain point, they got to go, all right, everybody's throwing these away. So
I think FedEx, UPS, all of these legitimate DHL. That's all we need. We don't need the post office.
yeah.
We simply don't need them, and especially with their old rickety trucks.
Amazon brings you whatever you need.
I do think that needs to be. There needs to be some competition for Amazon.
Yeah.
It would be better for Amazon.
Yeah.
Like, we can't buy supplements over at Amazon without heavily scrutinizing them because, like, you and I both are into methylene blue.
Mm-hmm.
Buying methylene blue on Amazon is sketchy because you could get heavy metals in methylene blue. So you got to make sure that you do your research on that company before you
Yeah.
start buying it.
Yeah, you can't just buy something.
You can't just buy stuff on there.
Yep.
But if there was more competition, that would get better because Amazon would make sure that it gets better. You can buy stuff on our store and be certain that it is exactly what it says it is. But when they're the only centralized supplier, that they don't care. As long as they make their percentage over the top of what they're selling, they don't care.
So yeah, a little competition probably would be.
But I think we both agree that we're not big fans of the post office.
I mean, post office has brought me a lot of really great shit over the years. It's just, I appreciate them.
We could deal without the junk mail.
The junk mail. The junk mail.
And I could deal with getting mail when I need it.
Well, that's the thing. I go get my mail when I know I'm getting mail.
Something that you need.
Something that I need.
You don't go to the mailbox every day?
Probably,
What, is yours right at the door, or is it?
it's around the front of the house.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's not that far.
So it's not even around your mailbox isn't even where you go into the house.
No. So I check the mail maybe once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
When I'm like, shit, I haven't checked the mail in a while, and I open it up and it's like piled up. Only once I got a notice that we're like, if you don't take all your mail out of the mailbox, we're gonna stop delivering. And I'm like, I haven't been to the mailbox in a month. So,
So there was a new, and the mailman here, he was delivering to these 2 houses across the street from me. One's obviously nobody's living there because they're building a new house on that lot. And the
Right.
mailbox is jammed full of stuff. And I said to the guy, why are you delivering that? There's nobody lives there. I have to. Okay. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, they got him.
But then the house next door, the lady died like at least 3 or 4 years ago. And her mailbox has been full. And every once in a while, I see the mailman try to stuff more in there. So apparently your neighborhood is stricter on these rules about...
This was a while back, but it was a lot.
But you know that they're also not just throwing it away. Like when they stop delivering it, they collect it at the post office.
Yeah, and they hold it for you.
And then they have to hold it.
Yeah, and they send you...
They're not really doing themselves any favors, you know? Because they have to hold it all, including the junk mail.
Remember when going postal was a thing?
It still is,
Like,
isn't it?
oh, they're going to go postal.
I remember there was multiple Seinfeld episodes about that.
But I think it's tied back to a specific incident. Like, didn't some postal worker go crazy?
More than some.
Yeah? I guess it's considered a high-pressure job or something.
Well, Newman, if you look it up from the Seinfeld episode, he actually has a pretty good description of it. It never stops. It doesn't matter what happens. It never stops.
You know what? Hate to tell Newman, but most jobs are like that.
Yes. Yes, that's the truth.
I don't have a super soft spot for postal workers. Like, yeah. Everybody's job is like that. It never stops.
Yeah, well, I have a feeling there's going to be a whole lot less government workers very soon.
The term going postal originated during the 80s and 90s, specifically linked to a series of violent incidents involving postal workers. In Edmond, Oklahoma, in 1986, a postal worker killed 14 colleagues and then himself in like the first incident like that really got big attention. And then there were 11 more incidents between 83 and 97.
I guess other people thought it was a good idea. It's
Copycat.
not. It's not, but I don't know, man. I think if you're that uncomfortable with your job, go find a different job.
Yeah. Yeah, look for another job. But yeah, to go in and kill everybody in the post office that you work with. Be like, damn.
It's the very definition of self-defeating.
Yeah. Going postal. But that term, that's a really like, everybody uses that term now. I'm going to go postal.
Now I'm curious as to why these two are chatting about Ross Ulbricht. I wouldn't think that they would be chatting about him. Maybe Trump pardoned him. Now I got to look it up on X. Yes.
He got pardoned?
This is what he said. I just called the mother of Ross William Ulbricht to let her know that in honor of her and her libertarian movement, which supported me strongly, it was my pleasure to have signed a full unconditional pardon of her son, Ross. Scum that worked to convict him are some of the same lunatics who were involved in the modern day weaponization of government against me. He was given 2 life sentences plus 40 years. Ridiculous. So he didn't do it on day one. And some people were all up in arms about that. And I'm like, the man is doing so much in one day. Maybe give him a week.
Is that guy Ross Ulbricht dead?
No.
Oh.
He was serving 2 life sentences plus 40 years. and he just got pardoned, 100%. So that's why they're talking about it. My other two friends are chatting back and forth about it. They're probably surprised I haven't said anything about it yet because I'm on the podcast here with you.
His own island in Hawaii. He owns 98% of the island Lanai.
Wow. I did not know that.
98%. Holy shit. And he's got a home in California and Japan.
Check this out. So she's been really giving Elon a hard time about the whole Hitler thing.
Uh-huh. Oh, and they got her doing
They
it.
got her doing that with her arm, too.
That's funny. Ellison was on the board of Tesla for a while.
He was a good friend of Steve Jobs, too.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly, which I may not be. But I'm pretty sure he was.
He's probably, I mean, he was born in 1944, so he's probably...
And he came from nothing.
He was born to a single mother. He was adopted at 9 months by his aunt and uncle in Chicago. And his adoptive father was a Russian immigrant who changed his last name to Ellison when he went through Ellis Island.
Wow.
That's how he got the name.
What year?
It doesn't say. He was born in 1944, though. But, his adoptive father was a Russian immigrant, so...
This is awesome.
Damn.
It's a meme where they're saying he's been in office for 24 hours and he's already saved us from global warming. It's snowing in Florida.
I saw the clip of the guy from Florida talking, and he was like, we don't have snow plows. We don't have salt. We don't have any way to clean the snow up. Like, they're kind of screwed in Florida. There's not a bunch of dudes with plows on their trucks.
You got to stay home.
Yeah.
In Florida, you can't even go to the grocery store because nobody there knows how to drive when it's slick out.
Yeah. Man, if you had a little plow on the front of your...
Did you hear about the preemptive pardon of Fauci by Biden?
No.
So just before he left office, he pardoned Fauci. All the way back to 2014.
Was Fauci in legal trouble?
You ask a very relevant question. What has he been pardoned for? Anything and everything. So what did he do? Isn't it like an admission of guilt? And they literally have video of Biden saying if Trump preemptively pardons anybody for unknown things before he leaves office, that is as good as admitting guilt for what they did. And Biden did the exact thing. Actually, I don't even think it was Biden. I think it was his handlers. I don't think he's cognizant enough to know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, in order to get pardoned, don't you have to be convicted of something? Apparently not.
I don't understand all the implications behind it, but we're definitely going to find out because he pardoned a lot of people at the end of his in the last day.
I beg your pardon.
They are saying that some of the pardons that happened are not legal. But I'm trying to find more memes and funny shit about what's going on. Yeah, let's just see what pops up. Oh, he got rid of Like those 51 people that said that the laptop was probably a Russian laptop. Those 51, he stripped them of their security clearances on day one. Wow, I still can't believe this thing about Ross Ulbricht. I'm going to have to read more about him. Find out what exactly happened. Everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
The lawsuits that have been filed against Doge were filed prematurely because in their rabid attempts to stop Trump at all costs, the billionaire Democrat mega donor law firm jumped the gun. Trump executive order is pretty much the nail in the coffin of these lawsuits. The lawsuits were based on the idea the Doge would be an outside advisory board. Well, guess what? It's not. So, they've already filed 3 lawsuits against Doge, except they didn't file them properly, apparently. I don't know what they're filing against. They haven't had a chance to do anything.
Yeah, what have they done? Man.
Nothing yet. This is what you do in Florida when it snows.
Oh, is that like...
You get out your airboat and you go cruising. Did you watch the last catch of the booster?
Yeah, I saw it.
He's done it twice now.
Yeah, that looked pretty good. And then one blew up, right? Or was that something different?
That was something different. That was the actual Starship itself.
Mm-hmm.
They did a completely different version of it. And Elon posted about it, and he basically said, success not guaranteed, entertainment is. And that was over... what's it called? Turkish Caicos Islands? Am I saying that wrong? I'm saying that wrong.
Turks Caicos?
Yeah, Turks Caicos.
Yeah.
Right. So it broke up over the top of them, and it was this massive light show. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I saw the video of that one too.
DEI is basically dead in the military. You're getting rid of that.
What is drug enforcement?
DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yeah, didn't like McDonald's end their diversity program or something?
Well, they're just basically saying that this kind of thought process has no business in our military.
Yeah.
This one says, you know who else posed in front of the Eiffel Tower? See it way in the background there?
Mm-hmm.
So he must be Hitler. It's just so ridiculous. There was this one point at which Elon was just basically staring off into space while he's listening. Everybody's just standing around listening to Trump talk, and people are like, I wonder what he's thinking about. And they're like, he's thinking about how to get to Mars faster. That's what Elon he doesn't have downtime.
I saw a video of him, like, somebody was talking, looking at his phone and laughing. They were like, Elon Musk is laughing at memes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there is a heavy likelihood that that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah. I mean,
Because he's on there all the time.
he's on there all the time. So you figure.
I have never gone on X and not seen a post pop up from Elon.
See, right. He's
He's-
always.
But you know, I
does
mean, when you pay 46 or $44 billion,
yeah, you figure he's going to.
and
use
he's
it.
actually getting sued because they say he underpaid.
Yeah, X is definitely. I mean, I think it's got potential.
Roger sent me a text earlier today. I want to read it to you. He sent me a clip from MSN.com. Vivek is out of Trump admin after claiming American workers have a culture problem. So I wrote back, stop watching these legacy medias. He's running for Ohio Senate seat. It's that simple. He can't be part of the Doge anymore because Doge is going to get sued relentlessly. And running for a Senate seat, you can't be tied to that.
Oh, so he stepped back from that?
So he stepped away from it. But he actually sent out his own post about it. It says, it was my honor to help support Doge, confident that Elon and team will succeed in streamlining government. He said, I'll have more to say about it and future plans shortly, but, you know, he's running for a Senate seat. It's really just that simple.
It's a conflict of interest. Or
Well, he needs to make that a priority,
yeah.
is basically what he's saying. And they're all trying to paint it as like Trump fired him somehow.
Right. I feel like if Trump fired him, he would have said,
I fired you.
yeah, why would he stay
He's
quiet about
actually
that?
famous for saying, you're fired,
Yeah. Yeah.
and very loudly. It's funny. It just never stops. The stream. That's one of the downsides about X is it's just like this constant.
All of them. They all never stop. Just like, it's real easy to lose some serious time.
Yeah. You just gotta not. What do you think will be the biggest thing that happens this year? What are you hoping for?
You mean to me?
No, just this year. Well, okay, to you.
Well, I don't know.
You gonna finish your book?
Yeah. Well, I
Or
mean,
at
I
least-
think the biggest thing that happens in the world this year, I don't know. I really can't speculate on that. Maybe.
You think Elon will come out with his RoboCab?
Well, I'd like to see the Model Y get announced in the U.S. And then I think they're...
You mean the new version?
Yeah. Yep, the Model Y refresh.
Do you think it'll be better in America? It'll be a different version with even more?
Yeah, because, well, It's
think
just they're constantly.
yeah.
They're
I don't think
constantly-
people realize that as they come off the line, they're always updating.
They're always.
They're always updating. Like 100 cars later, there's significant differences.
Yep. But I think their other car is going to be a big deal.
You still think there's going to be another car,
Yep.
another $25,000 car?
Yep. Model 2.5.
What do you think it's going to look like? Is it going to be a small SUV?
I think it's going to be similar to the Cybercab,
So it's going to be a car,
but it's going to
and
be a
it's
different.
and it's going to it'll be like maybe like my Prius,
Yeah.
where it's a hatchback.
Yep. I would like a hatchback. But I also think there's a lot of possibility for something bigger that, you know, that can go against like a minivan or a large SUV.
So you think there's going to be an electric version of what 70s van was that from VW? You know which one I'm talking about?
The VW van?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Is that what it's called? I thought there was a
there a name for it?
name for it, but I don't know what it is.
I think there's a lot of potential for them to like
Or do you think it'll be bigger than
do
that?
something.
It'll be more like suburban sized.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
think he is going to come out with something big because
He-
people have been asking about it, and he's been. Well, that's possible.
That's like the hole in their lineup. Like if you got a big family,
Yeah,
you
people
know,
like big cars.
people
That's
have
American.
people have 6, 7, 8 people in their family. They need to get the kids around to practice and whatever. Like,
Or they want to take the entire soccer team,
yeah,
you know, and
Yeah.
they don't want to have 50 cars to do it. They only want to take 3.
so I think this year I think is going to be an interesting year for that. So that's going to be the biggest thing, I think.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a boon in the auto industry because he keeps talking about it too.
Yeah.
I think he's going to help out Detroit immensely. I just hope they don't get bailed out again.
What do you think the biggest thing that's going to happen this year is?
I think they're going to do what they can to fix the money. And I don't think it's going to be apparent to everybody how much that fixes things. But when you fix the incentives, like you and me, we've been talking about different business ideas, right? And one of the things we keep talking about is all of this planning that you have to do around shit that we don't really want to spend a whole lot of time planning.
Mm-hmm.
Like the structure of it for taxes purposes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all of that shit's going to go away.
Yeah.
Like you can start a business. You don't have to worry about protecting yourself from the tax man.
Yeah.
You know, like there might be something that says you can make $1 million in profit before you have to worry about taxes as a startup. I think stuff like that is going to be rolled out really quickly this year. And so I think there's going to be a lot of people that start businesses and leave the company that they're unsatisfied working at and start their own business.
Yeah, and they can actually earn a living doing it if they're not getting. It's so intimidating.
They don't have to learn all this shit that it has nothing to do with the thing that they want to do.
Yeah, because when you try to learn all that shit, it takes time away from you being able to do the shit.
Right, and I think it's going to help farmers sell their product directly to people.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're talking about local raise this, local raise that. And yet there's all these regulations in the way from them to sell their stuff locally.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's all these tax implications and all of this other stuff.
Yeah.
And I think people will be allowed to actually have a pet squirrel and not worry about it getting killed by the local government. But that's just me.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be legal to own squirrels as a pet.
Yeah. I feel like if you want a pet squirrel, you should
Or
be able
train
to
squirrels
do
and sell them.
that. Yeah.
You know, I think 3D print farms are going to become big time business this year.
This year, huh?
Yeah. Because I've always believed in on-demand manufacturing, right? And local manufacturing. So if I'm a designer, and I am, and I come up with a design that I want to sell, I can literally sell the G code for your printer to print it. And then I can count how many times that you print it.
Right.
And I can charge you pennies for the right to print that locally. You know, there's all sorts of business ideas like this,
Yeah.
you know? So, but the reason the regulations need to go away is because that's obviously going to eat into things like Amazon.
Very much so.
So why would I buy a widget from you instead of just ordering it for $12 on Amazon? Well, it's exactly what I want.
Right.
It's literally exactly what I want. The guy, like the thing that you bought for your Pocket 3.
Mm-hmm. The cover.
Yeah. That's 3D printed.
Yeah?
It's got inserts in it.
Oh, the big sleeve. Yeah.
Right. And so I think that guy's doing a great business, and I think more of those businesses are going to pop up all over the place, and they're going to compete.
Yeah, that guy's from Australia. And it's printed in New Jersey. And
Yeah.
sent. He's just got a partnership with somebody that prints for him.
Yeah, he's got a partnership with a boutique that does print jobs,
Yep.
and then they ship it out. Well, imagine this. Now he can send it directly to you to print on your printer
Right?
and get paid. So I think, you know how everybody eventually ends up owning things? Like, how many TVs do you have in your house? How many
4.
TVs did you have when you were 12?
I don't know. But I mean, I remember being a kid, we had one TV.
Right.
Yeah.
You had one TV.
Yeah.
Most families at that time had one TV. And
Yeah.
now most people have 2 or 3.
Yeah. 100%.
And then there was a time where everybody had a paper printer. Do you still have one?
I have one, but I don't. It's too much of a pain in the ass to change the ink. So I have a thermal printer.
But you have one.
Yeah. Thermal for labels.
Right.
Shipping
And
labels and stuff.
I think in this year, it's going to start to become the same place for 3D printers.
Yeah.
There's going to be big companies that decide to go into business on it because it's going to get unraveled, because I don't think people realize that it's been captured by one company that's pretty evil out there that keeps going and buying up the smaller companies in order to keep it from becoming prevalent. That's been going on for 20 years now.
What's been going on?
Like MakerBot, it was becoming really popular.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden this other company bought MakerBot.
Just to keep it quiet.
Well, what they did is that they were starting to sell MakerBots that could do multiple different materials, right? And then all of a sudden, you could only buy at a very expensive printer that they had that didn't print that well, and all it printed was PLA, which is not an engineering material. So all you could print was like Comic-Con masks and things like that, and you could only print in one color.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden it went stagnant again. And people just stopped buying. It was ready to take off. And they were selling those printers at Sam's Club for a while, and then they just went away.
Really?
Which is really what they wanted. Because they've got production 3D printers in the background that they're trying to sell for $10,000 and lock people into their materials.
Yep.
It was kind of like HP did for a while, where they were saying, well, you have to buy ink from us. And then all of these other companies popped up, and they sold kits where you could recharge the cartridge.
Yeah, refills, yeah.
And it was dirt cheap compared to buying cartridges from HP, and they tried to sue them and all of this stuff.
Yeah, because they charged $30 for a cartridge. Like, what the fuck, man?
Of like 5 cents worth of ink.
Of ink. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
ink. It's not that expensive.
It's not. And if it is, it shouldn't be. So I think 3D printers is going to absolutely take off this year.
Yeah.
And I love Bamboo Labs, but I think there's needs to be an American competitor. So regulatory capture is, I think, a thing that's going to get squished by the Doge.
What is regulatory capture?
So this angel investor, I think that's what he does. Bill Gurley did a thing on it where they tried to put in free Wi-Fi in a couple of different cities, and what they found was that lobbyists from companies like Comcast and Verizon had basically made it illegal for you to give away Wi-Fi in those cities. They had made regulations, and they had lobbied for it. They were legally a monopoly then, right? They had made regulations that made it so that you could only get Wi-Fi or internet access at your home through those companies.
Mm-hmm.
And what they were trying to do was basically push out free Wi-Fi to the entire city.
Yeah.
And so they couldn't do it. That's what regulatory capture is. You live with a lot of it. People just don't realize it.
Yeah.
So what that will do is it will drive prices down. So all people are worried about everything getting more expensive. But when you get rid of all of these regulations, like they're talking about it in Canada too, like the people who collect regulations and actually regulate the housing industry make more than the people that actually make the houses.
That's crazy.
The people that do the work make less money on a house than the people who regulate the house building.
The permits and all
Exactly.
all that crap. Yeah.
Right. That's not what government's for. Government's supposed to serve us, not drive up the cost of everything.
Yeah. Indentured servitude, man. Indentured servitude.
What do you mean by that?
We're all indentured servants, man.
We're enslaved to our government?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think more than people realize.
Always been that way.
I don't think it's always been that way.
Yeah.
Maybe in our lifetime.
I mean, yeah.
It's gotten gradually worse in our lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the internet is in social media, when it's not captured, allows us to all communicate with each other so we know more what's going on. A lot of people don't realize that they live in some sort of the matrix.
Yeah. There's a podcast I've been listening to, and they just put out an episode very detailed on the simulation that we're in today. So I'm looking forward to listening to that.
What's the name of it?
It's called Acid for Squares. Production value is excellent. And they just talked to people. They had somebody on there about the drones. They got a lot of UFO and alien.
Somebody asked Trump about the drones last night, and he said he talked to somebody off camera. He said, "Give me the information about that. I want to tell everybody what's going on." So we're going to find out real soon.
Yeah.
What was going on over New Jersey?
Yeah, it'd be nice to know.
He said, "I can't imagine that it's anything serious, because if it was, we'd be shooting them down." So I just don't understand why they're not telling everybody.
Yeah, that whole story just kind of went away.
Yeah, well, that's by design.
Yeah, it just stopped. I don't know if those drones are still out there or not.
Who knows if they were ever there, or if they were just some sort of distraction.
Yeah, on this podcast I listened to about the drones and the UFOs, they're talking about those government whistleblowers that are speaking and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They are, they're not just like talking. Everything that they are saying has been pre-approved by the United States government. Like, they're not really true, "I'm going to blow the whistle in this." Like, these people are delivering predetermined statements.
The agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they're told they can say and what they will say.
Yeah.
They're not just
Some of them say they're not, that they're outside of that, but it's not true.
they're puppets.
Have you ever heard Joe Rogan talk about RFK's book on Fauci,
Yeah, I've heard him talk about it.
where he basically says that if it wasn't all true, he'd be having his ass suit off?
Yeah, I have heard him say that. Right.
Well, if I've heard some of the stuff that's in there, and he's done some pretty diabolical things.
This is a book that's out?
This is a book that's been out for years.
Yeah, you haven't read it?
I have not read it
I'm
yet.
surprised you haven't read it.
I haven't
man.
read it because every time Joe Rogan talks about it, he talks about how dark it is. And I don't really know if I want to open my eyes to that level of the Matrix. Remember Cypher from the Matrix,
Yeah.
who wanted to just go back in?
Yeah.
I don't think there is such a thing. Like when you're made aware of evil shit that's been happening all around us for a decade, I don't know that you can unknow that.
Yeah. I mean,
Why haven't you read it? I think I know the answer to this, so I'm looking for
it's
your
not,
honest opinion.
not really that interesting to me.
Yeah. Why is that?
I mean, I feel like a book like that, I don't need to know every little detail. If Fauci's a piece of shit, I could read a line, hey, this guy's a piece of shit, this is what he did. Like, I'm fine reading a 2-paragraph summary of that book. I don't need all the details. I just don't care that much.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to...
Spend all your life energy there.
Well, it's not going to take a whole lot to convince me that this dude's a clown. You know what I mean? Like...
Well, he's a confirmed liar, that's for sure. I mean, when you 1 week you're telling everybody that masks aren't needed and you don't need it, and it doesn't really do anything, and then a few weeks later you're telling everybody that they have to wear them and stand 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
And then later on to Congress, you admit to everybody that you just made it all up and none of it's based on science. I don't know what else you call that other than a liar.
Yeah.
And then it just goes downhill from there.
Yeah.
Apparently he's been experimenting on kids and whole bunches of shit.
Yeah. I believe it. I got no reason to not believe that.
Well, after the pardon that covers them all the way back to 2014 on absolutely everything, I mean...
Man, I'd like to get a pardon before I do something wrong.
But here's the question I have. What's the incentives for pardoning him? Why would Biden bother to do that? Well, first of all, I don't think Biden was actually the president. I think all of the working people around him were doing things and they were putting his name on stuff. So I think that's pretty much what was happening.
100%. I
You know?
agree with that.
Otherwise,
statement.
they wouldn't have removed him from running for another term. You know? And there's also a court case where they said they couldn't try him on documents because he wasn't fit to stand trial on it. So I think that, they basically proved the point for us. So then what would be the incentive for that group of people or Biden to give Fauci a pardon?
Yeah.
Payout. He's got money and they wanted it.
Yeah.
So he paid for a pardon.
Yeah.
I can't see any other reason why even Biden on his own would bother to give the man a fucking pardon. For what? He doesn't list it. He just says for everything. All the way back to 2014. So I have a feeling there's going to be large investigation into that ex-administration.
Yeah.
Some fishy's definitely going on.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it's some fishy.
Yeah, I don't know. All those pardons are crazy. They're just like, all right, we're going to let all these people off the hook because we feel like it.
Do you know the difference in the numbers of pardons that he output there
Difference between what?
between him and any other president?
No.
I think he gave more pardons than the last. I think it's more than the last 10 presidents combined.
That's funny. Man, I want Joe Exotic to get pardoned, man.
Oh yeah, that would be interesting.
That, like, needs to happen. I would like to see that guy get out of prison. Just to see what he does.
Why is he in prison now?
Cruelty to animals, I think. Right?
I thought it was because he got some of his employees killed.
Well, yeah, I mean, like,
I thought it was
mishandling of animals.
Unsafe environment where one of the tigers
Unregulated.
ate one of his employees' arms.
I watched that damn Netflix series about the women that own pet tigers and shit. That shit is wild, man. That is like a whole nother world. This, like, underground network of people that buy these exotic animals. It wasn't tigers, it was chimps.
Oh, God.
And, remember the story of the chimp tearing the lady's face off?
Yes.
That is in this, like the details of what happened.
Yeah, see, this is the thing where I don't have any desire to know the details about this stuff.
But these women, like, sleep with them, and
It's like gruesome stuff, man.
it's like their life partners, these chimpanzees. And the poor animals are, like, depressed. Like, they want to be out doing monkey things. They want to be out monkeying around. And instead they have to live their life in a cage or in the house with some mentally unwell woman that, like, dresses them up, and then they just snap and they attack. And it's their, like, instinct coming out in them, like, they're a wild animal. So they have this
You
instinct
mean they're
to
wild
kill.
animals, yeah.
And they act upon their instinct, and then they get fucking shot over it. They get killed. I'm like, that's not really fair to them. But the lengths that these people go to like hide their activity and what they do, it's insane. It was a fascinating documentary. It was made by the same guy who did the Tiger King documentary. But I just want to see
the number of people that post pictures of them with tigers.
Yeah.
It just blows me away.
Yeah.
People go to these places to get a picture with a tiger.
Yeah, that is wild. I would not be comfortable in a room with a tiger.
I don't think it's worth it.
Oh, that was me.
Sure was.
That was me. I put my one phone on Do Not Disturb, but not my other one.
You look tired.
Off today, off tomorrow. Yeah, 2 days in a row. Happy with that.
Cool. Is that a wrap?
Going to yoga tomorrow. Yeah, I guess we're probably done, right? We got two good hours. I'm going to yoga at 10:15 tomorrow for
Always
this class.
Interested in how you break these up. Because I'm all over the place with what we're talking about all the time.